Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone you trusted and realized they were just as lost as you? That the experts were actually just children playing dress-up in expensive suits? It is a cold, visceral realization the moment the floor vanishes and you're left suspended by nothing but a collective lie. On the morning of September 16, 1992, in the shadowed canyons of London's financial district, an entire empire woke up inside a dream that was about to bleed out. By sunset, the British pound had been broken, stripped of its dignity, and cost the public over £3.3 billion in a single, frantic afternoon. While a nation's treasury was being emptied, one man in a quiet midtown Manhattan office sat watching his screens with the detached precision of a coroner, walking away with $1 billion profit for a single day's work. This isn't just a story about a trade, it is a psychological audit of the glitch inside our own minds. We believe the world is built on solid ground, governed by rules and equilibrium. But the truth is, we live in a house of mirrors. We shape our reality, then that reality shapes our thinking back, until the line between fact and fantasy disappears. In 1992, the British government was trapped in one of these mirrors. They had joined the exchange rate mechanism, ERM, a financial marriage meant to keep European currencies locked together. But the marriage was a fraud. Britain was in a deep recession, desperate for low interest rates to survive. Their partner, Germany, was booming after reunification and hiking rates to fight inflation. Instead of facing the truth, the British leadership chose groupthink. They told themselves that as long as they looked strong, they were strong. They were acting on a behavioral flaw where the crowd believes a lie simply because the person next to them is repeating it. Ask yourself, where in your own life are you staying in a bad marriage or a failing career just because you were afraid of the short-term humiliation of admitting you were wrong? While the politicians in London were polishing the brass on their sinking ship, a man named George Soros was looking for the leak. Soros wasn't a typical banker, he was a survivor. Born in Budapest, he spent 1944 hiding from the Nazis using false identities. His father taught him a gritty, life-saving philosophy: when the rules are about to break, the people who follow them are the first to die. Soros brought this survivor's instinct to the markets. He didn't believe in the perfect knowledge taught in business schools. He followed the rule of fallibilism, the idea that any system claiming to be perfect is actually a trap. He called it reflexivity. It meant that if the market believes the pound is strong, it stays strong until it suddenly doesn't. Soros saw the British Treasury was having a brain freeze. They were so desperate to save face that they were burning through their gold and cash reserves to buy their own currency. They were like a surgeon trying to shock a patient whose heart had already flatlined. In Manhattan, Soros's strategist, Stanley Druckenmiller, proposed $1.5 billion Australian dollars bet that the pound would fall. Soros looked at him with disdain. He didn't want to just nibble. He saw a moment where there was virtually no downside because the pound was already at its lowest possible floor. He told Druckenmiller, go for the jugular. They didn't just place a bet, they used a poker stack so large it bullied the entire Bank of England out of the game. They assembled a $10 billion short position. They borrowed pounds and sold them faster than the Bank of England could buy them back. The "wow, that's true" moment for you is this: Soros wasn't gambling on a coin flip, he was betting on human ego. He knew that the politicians would rather lose billions of your money than admit a mistake in their vision. He used the cunning of a fox to see that the crowd's belief was a hollow shell. On the afternoon of Black Wednesday, the pressure became a tidal wave. In a blind panic, the UK Chancellor, Norman Lamont, raised interest rates from 10% to 12%. Nothing happened. The computer screen showed a flat line in a final hallucinated act of strength. They raised them to 15%. The market laughed. Traders knew that a government hiking rates to 15% during a recession is a man trying to put out a fire with gasoline. It was a national-scale brain freeze, pure fear masquerading as policy. By 7:30 p.m., the British government surrendered. They pulled out of the ERM. The pound collapsed, dropping 15% in weeks. Soros had proven his will to power. He didn't just want the money. He wanted to show that one mind, acting on the truth of human fallibility, is more powerful than an entire political establishment living in a dream. We all have this same behavioral glitch. We cling to our official story, the way we think our lives or our investments should look even when the data says the ship is underwater. We wait for a leader to tell us what to do, not realizing that the leader is often just a yes man to their own vanity. The unsettling truth about human character is this: we do not fail because we lack information. We fail because we lack the courage to look in the mirror and admit that the rules we are following were written by people who are just as terrified as we are. When the floor falls out from under your world, will you be the one trying to prop it up with a lie? Or will you be the one who already recognized that the floor was never really there?